Hello, YouTube. Michael Constantine here. Why do I care so much about people who have been abused, sexually assaulted, and people who are vulnerable? Because I spent my entire life being one of those people. Despite being a really amazing and wonderful person, I've been victimized throughout my life for decades. And the same people who hurt me would turn around and use Darvo against me to mischaracterize me as the perpetrator and a violent person and all these other things. When in reality, all that I wanted was for people to love me and to treat me right. I wanted to be treated as I treated others. I was a good person. I was generous and I was kind as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult. And everything that I've done has been to try to seek out the most basic level of happiness and joy. Have a place to stay, food to eat, air conditioning, have a movie to watch, be safe with my family and my children, have a loved one that loved me, that valued me, that wanted to build a life with me. And these people, these sex offenders out there in society, I've encountered them throughout my life on multiple occasions. And I am astounded by just how much prevalence there is of those people and what they do. I'm astounded by how much they get away with what they do, how much they hurt people, and the fact that our economy continues to be designed to encourage economic dependence on people who are abusers. It does not factor for the vulnerability of these populations that are out there. It doesn't factor for people who come from nothing, who are great people who just want to work their ass off in order to try to have a good life. And if you're unfortunate enough, as I have been, to encounter these people on a recurring basis throughout your life, be it at church or on a dating website or in the community, wherever you happen to be, and they are able to have some kind of influence on your life, I'm going to tell you now, it's the worst thing that will ever happen to you in your entire life. I'm a person who was a covert sexual assault victim and drug addict, and they didn't tell me about either one of those issues, and I built a life around that person. And this person hurt me and my oldest son. She inflicted forcible drug addiction on me without my consent, and she suffocated my child from the time that he got home, most likely, until right before she died. And he couldn't even remember what had happened, and I couldn't remember a lot of things that she had done either. And we've had to contend with amnesia from what this person did to us. And I loved her to death. I would have done anything for my spouse. And all of this that happened to me, to my household, in the last 15 years is because she was a sexual assault victim as a child. Because her father and members of her family sexually abused her and turned her into an extraordinarily violent, sadistic person who was so evil that she would suffocate small children and she would kill animals. That is literally what the situation was that I was affected by. I didn't know that she was doing these things. I didn't know that she was a violent person. I didn't know that she was abusing drugs. I didn't know what she had done to my face until 6 years after she had died, because I had amnesia. You can't see it because the cuts are above the hairline. That's why I care so much about establishing housing and transportation and communications, and utility provision, and clothing provision, and food provision on a long-term basis for people who come from impoverished and vulnerable populations, so that those individuals will not have to rely on an abuser, as I did growing up and again in marriage, even though I wasn't aware of what she was doing, in order to survive. There are some families out there that are so horrible that they're unfit to have children or care for the children that are in their guardianship because of generational extreme dysfunction in those families. And I have fought for years as a silent advocate through my writings to the White House, to the governors of various states, to try to get these solutions in place for people who have been affected by these circumstances. And capitalism is a major perpetuating factor for the vulnerability and the victimization of people from these circumstances.